Hello everyone, this is Grade 3, Module 5, Lesson 13, Homework. The directions state, for all the A's, the shape represents one whole. Write a fraction to describe the shaded part. So on the left-hand side, whatever the shaded part is, right here, we're going to write a fraction as if this circle is the entire whole. So that's 1/2 that's shaded, one out of the two pieces. For the B part of it, the shaded part represents one whole. So just this part is one whole. Divide one whole to show the same unit fraction you wrote in part A. So now I have to break this shaded part in to show 1/2. And the way I do that is I'm just going to break this in half like this. And there's a half, and there's a half. Let's try another one, just down below. So on the left-hand side, this whole thing, this is one whole. So what part is shaded? That's going to be a third. Now I'm going to take this piece right here, so it's in thirds, and I'm looking at just this part. This shaded piece right here equals one whole. So I got to break this one whole right here into this style right here of unit fractions into thirds. So I'm going to break this piece into thirds, and this part right there is my 1/3. So we'll take a look at the last one, 4. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I see 1/5. One of the 5 is shaded. So on the right hand side, because this on A, this whole amount is one whole. Over here, just this is one whole. So I got to break this shaded piece into fifths because that's what I did over in part A. So I'm going to break it into fifths. So there's my fifths, and this part right here, that's going to be 1/5. Let's take a look at page. Use the picture below to complete the following statements. So we have towel rack A, towel rack B, and towel rack C. Towel rack blank is about half the length of towel rack C. So I need to look at C, which is the bottom one, and I'll mark off about halfway. And if I look up which one closest resembles that, I can see that if I go straight up, it looks like towel rack B is about half of towel rack C. If I slide down to B, towel rack blank is about 1/3 of the length of towel rack C. So now I have to break this into thirds, and I'm kind of off on that one, pretty bad actually. But we see that which one is closest to it. I can see towel rack A. It's about 1/3. So just being able to look at each of those shapes and partition them off will help you out greatly with that one. So if you're talking about halves or thirds, I'm going to break the one I was talking about towel rack C for both of those, so I broke them into halves here and then into thirds here, just so I can get a visual with lining up the other towel racks. So that'll help out with that question. Let's answer one of these bottom ones, just to help out so we can show with a number bond. We'll do E. About how many copies of towel rack B equal the length of towel rack C? Draw number bonds to help you. So how many of B will equal C? And I can see that it's about halfway, so if I put another towel rack in here, that's the same length as B, it'll equal it. So the question says about how many copies of towel rack B? 2 copies of towel rack B will equal towel rack C. So my number bond for that, to equal 1 whole, I can tell that it's about half the length, so 2 halves. And I'm going to refer back to C up here that we didn't do. If towel rack C measures 6 feet, so it's 6 feet, about how long would towel rack B be measured? And we know that it's about half, so 3. And I would need 2 3s to make that 6 feet long. It's just pretty much showing that 2 of the pieces put together will equal my whole amount of the length of towel rack C. Let's take a look at the last page. And it says draw 3 strings, B, C, and D, following the directions below. String A is already drawn for you. So here's string A. I'm going to draw B next, and it says in this first bullet, B is 1/3 of string A. So I'm going to kind of look and kind of partition A into 3 parts, and I know I got to keep my starting point the same, but I'm going to go out to this because that's 1/3 of A. So there's B. Now, C says it's half of string B. So I'm going to come to B, and I'm going to draw a little dash right there to show where about halfway is. And again, I'm doing the same starting point, and I'm going to go out to the halfway point of B and show that that's about halfway to B. String D says 1/3 of C, so I'm looking at C now, which is in red, and I got to break it into thirds. So I have D, and I'm going to do the same starting point, and I'm going to go out to that first mark and show that D is about 1/3 of C. So you're partitioning off the string before it to create. So in order to do B, I had to partition A. In order to do C, I had to partition B. In order to do D, I had to partition C to show it. So that's why I have my dashes next to it to show what the equal pieces would be. Hope this helps, and good luck on your homework.